I was a 30-year-old guy with a daughter, married, and struggling. I had 40 grand. That was 3 houses. So 20 grand down, 10 grand down, 10 grand down. My money's gone. So I sat back and realized at 45 I could retire because I had this rental portfolio that was acquired one rental at a time.
You've accumulated 180 rentals in 18 years. So to give somebody perspective, like what does a portfolio like that actually make?
Easily 40 a month.
Somebody who's listening to this, they're W-2 right now. They don't know what to do. Let's go through the first steps to building wealth.
Building wealth is a very simple 3-step process. Step 1, you have to...
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Wealthy Way podcast. Today, I've got a man with 180 rentals, and he did it in a very different way than how maybe I tell people to do it. I'm all about like, let's quit your job, start flipping and wholesaling, then buy some rentals. This man was a W-2 man through and through, and he was still able to accumulate that many rentals. I've got none other than Michael Zuber. What's up, man?
Hey, man, thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity. This should be fun.
Yeah, so I remember, man, when did you reach out to me? Maybe like 3-4 years ago?
Probably the first time, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you had just written your book, One Rental at a Time.
Correct.
And, you know, you were just like getting your name out there, like just trying to spread this message of, you know, hey, you can become wealthy just one at a time. Explain the concept of that.
Yeah, so One Rental at a Time was really born out of being financially free and retired, right? I retired at 45 after working at W-2 because of real estate. But Ryan, I sat at my kitchen table probably 3 weeks after being done, and I was depressed for the first time in my life, which is kind of a weird thing, right?
When you were retired?
Yeah, 3 weeks after retirement, I'm depressed.
Okay.
Something's wrong, right? Something's broken.
Yeah.
But what happened is my ego was wrapped up in my W-2 job, right? I was a commission sales rep, very good at what I did.
Where did you work?
So the last place I worked at was Splunk, then Mercury Interactive and HP Software. So I was all over enterprise software.
You were an enterprise software sales guy.
Correct.
You're like my friend Blake, who's on this show sometimes. He sells enterprise software.
Yeah, so $1 million deals were you know, common, right? And you get, you know, it's a high pressure. You have 90-day quotas, you know, and you survive in that meat grinder for, you know, a decade and a half, you know, it's time to go, right? It's time to be done. But I was depressed, which was wild. And it really came down to the fact I didn't have something to do. I didn't have a passion, right? In my ego or my type A personality or whatever it was, it didn't feel like I was contributing anymore. So I sat back and realized at 45 I could retire because I had this rental portfolio that was acquired one rental at a time, right? Starting in 2001. So I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah. How many did you have when you retired?
180, 175, 180.
Okay.
We've added a few, sold a few.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, got it.
But the portfolio is there that pays our bills. And I realized that when I was kind of trying to get quiet because I didn't want to feel depressed, that there was something there. Because my story starts in 2001 after losing 80% of my wealth in the stock market crash, right? I'm old enough where the .com crushed me, right? Turned 7 grand into 200 that went back to 40. So it was great. Then I was an idiot. So I remember walking through Borders bookstore. Yes, I am that old, where they actually had physical bookstores, and finding Rich Dad, Poor Dad, consumed the book like many of us have. But it didn't tell me how. And I remember sitting at that dinner table or kitchen table at 45 going, I'm gonna write what happened after reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, from buying my first house at Norris Drive that almost blew up into financial freedom. So that's really where One Rental at a Time is. I wanted people to realize that it is possible. There was no book that I could find that took an idea through 15 years of execution, the ups and the downs. My book is not how-to if you've read it. It's one family story of starting with a single house through financial freedom. So that's what I wanted to do.
So let's just talk about that, right? Because it's like, okay, you started in 2001 and then you retired what year?
So it would have been 5 years ago, so 18.
So 2018 you retired. You've accumulated basically 180 rentals in 18 years, call
Roughly,
it.
Yep.
So you were getting 10 a year on average, right? I'm sure it didn't start that way. It was one, and then it started to accumulate. But like, I mean, how does a normal guy do this? I mean, I'm sure you're making obviously good money. Like, how much were you making at your job?
So we started, it wasn't that great, right? So we're probably making, again, we live in the Silicon Valley, so it's a little bit inflated. The wife and I together were probably making 200 grand back in 2001.
And how was that like in Silicon Valley? Was that even good?
That was, no,
Yeah.
that was, even in 2001, we both have advanced degrees and all of that stuff. It was very, very much paycheck to paycheck.
It was paycheck to paycheck still at 200 grand.
200 grand. Even in 2001, 200 grand a day is
In Silicon Valley, you're
it's a
broke.
problem.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, you probably have one car at that point. But really how it started is I had 40 grand left over from all the stock market wealth. That was 3 houses. So 20 grand down on Norris Drive, 10 grand down, 10 grand down. My money's gone.
How much were those houses?
Norris Drive was 107. The next was 111 and then 115. So just over 100 grand.
Okay. And you had no problem getting normal loans because you had a job.
I had a job, no problem. 20% down the first one. Didn't know I could do 10%. That's how long and how much of an idiot I was in the beginning. The next 2 were 80, 10, 10s, 80% first, 10% second, 10% equity.
Yep.
And then we were out. So what we did was 2 things. One is we started cutting back on expenses because you can either make more income or cut expenses. We decided to audit needs versus wants. So we went from spending 100% of our income to almost 50% over about an 18-month period because
You guys just got committed
together.
Yeah.
And shout out Olivia because she was along for the ride the whole time.
It's my daughter's name.
Oh, that's a wonderful name. I love that name. And but the other thing happened is we were in a very interesting real estate cycle. 2001. Life's pretty good, 03, 04, 05. So we did cash out refis.
Yep.
So we went from 3 to 8 homes, no new money, all cash out refis.
Getting the cash out and then buying
the next one, right? Then in 2006, we go to a Bruce Norris event, used to be in Southern California. He's now in Florida. But basically he talked about the California crash. That was the title of his report. And he talked about something I had never heard of called the affordability index. I had no idea what it was. I have an econ degree. I have an MBA. I'm an accountant. No idea what that was. But basically, he intrigued me enough where I went and looked up Fresno's affordability, and it was as low as it had ever been, which is a problem. It means prices are inflated. So I'm not one to look a gift horse and a mouse. We sold every house, and we 1031 into apartments. So we went from 8 houses to 80 units in about 11 months.
So you just sold the houses. You took the equity. Use that as a new down payment on 80 units.
Yeah, so we were at 80 units and we didn't put any more cash in except the first 40 grand. 40 grand.
How much cash did like those 8 houses end up like having in them roughly?
So the equity that we moved, we probably moved certainly 800, I would guess, probably maybe 850, somewhere around
850 grand. And then you bought how much worth of apartments?
So those 80 units at list would have been probably 3.2-ish, 3.3.
Was it just one complex?
No. Oh, so one house became a 5, one became a 10, one became a 13. It's all audited in the book. Those pages. It's like, hey, this is what we got.
Yep.
But that was really interesting because apartments are very different than houses, right? So the first one we bought on Vassar, which we still own today, it didn't perform like I expected because shocking, 5 units, small, close together, they're a little harder to manage, all of that. But there are things you learn along the way, and one of the key things, especially when you look at today, is I think, generally speaking, the small multis, the stuff I play in, the 5s to 40s, we're going to see some pain because of financing. And I may do the exact same thing again. We have 50 or 60 houses now. I made 1031 out of houses back into apartments.
Into the small ones.
The small. We don't have partners. We don't raise capital. We don't do any of that. It's just me and Olivia. But yeah, so 5s to 40s are we like to play now.
I'll ask you about that later, why you don't, but
sure.
Yeah. But so tell me, you exchange into these 5s, these 10s, and that gets you to 80.
Correct.
Then what happens next?
So we're at 80. Now the market's blowing up. Because again, you can go back and look at Norris Drive. If people wanted to look it up, it's 1818 Norris Drive East, 93703. We sold it at 263. We sold a little early. It ultimately peaks at 300. But then the crash happens. It retrades again at 75 grand.
Yeah.
So Fresno was murdered in the crash. So basically housing rolls over. It's the first time I paused because we were on a pretty good clip of buying or selling about something every 6 months for a while. And when stuff rolled over, I mean, I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't know how bad it was. But we started buying again when houses got to about 150. So they were 50% off. And we bought all the way down. The cheapest house we bought was 28 grand.
This is in Fresno.
This is in Fresno, California. Everything we do is there, Fresno/Madera. And Yeah, it was fun. Then we had to raise money. We raised private capital the first time, but it was always debt. It wasn't equity capital. That was a big deal for us. I was writing for Bigger Pockets at the time as a featured blog post and blog writer. And yeah, we were just documenting what we were doing, right? We had a Wealth Building Pro site where we go, hey, this is the Gumball House. We'd always name our houses.
So wait, what year were you writing for Bigger Pockets?
So I was at their first event. I was one of their first speakers in Colorado. So it had to be what, 06, 07, I think.
They've been around that long.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it might have been 08.
I thought I started to get on them early back in 2014 2014 was when I first read Brandon Turner's book. But I read his book and I started listening to the because the podcast started somewhat around then.
Yeah. Well, so they've had several, right? So I was actually interviewed by Josh Dorkin, who was the CEO.
Yeah.
I was writing for the blog, and then Brandon Turner came in as an intern. Right. And his first, I don't know if job or task or whatever was making the blog get better. Right. So I worked with Brandon really, really early.
Just trying to do blogs.
He was adding structure and process. He was being Brandon. That's really his thing.
What was Josh doing a podcast then?
He did, yeah. I mean, you can look it up still. I'm on there. Gosh, 05. Man, I was fat. You can look it up. I had a big old fat face. It was funny. But yeah, like episode 56, I think.
That's crazy. They were doing podcast. Like podcasts weren't a thing.
No, they weren't. No, you can find it on YouTube. It's there.
That's crazy. Okay, so you're just on Bigger Pockets, which isn't even this thing yet.
No, it's not.
Knows what it is.
Jay Scott's writing for it at that time.
Yeah.
Tom Tarrant is writing for it. It was really, really early.
Yep.
But just that, getting your name out there, allowed me to raise millions of dollars. Just documenting I never asked for a penny.
Yeah.
Right.
People are just like, yo, I want to invest with you.
I want some of that, right? Yeah. And I was paying back in the day 10 or 12%, depending on the deal structure.
Yep.
Right. Interest only, just easier to get done. But
yeah,
we got really active, right? Like 2010 was the best year for us. 11, 12, we were buying something seemingly every 3 weeks.
Yeah, cool. So obviously the market bottomed out.
Mm-hmm.
In Vegas we got crushed, just like Fresno. Even I remember. So when I got into real estate in 2010, I remember reading the reports, and Vegas was number one of like getting crushed the hardest.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it's like. I don't know if it's just me as a realtor, but it's really hard to sell a house. It's like, well, yeah, I was literally in the worst market as a realtor. But, as an investor, it would have been the best market if you had cash. But I didn't know how to get cash, or, there wasn't, Bigger Pockets wasn't like known.
Yeah, no, it was very strange.
None of this stuff was available to me. But, I do remember Fresno being like on the list as one of the higher ones.
We were certainly top 10. And if you go back and look at the history, Fresno was number one market 2 years in a row on the upside.
Got it.
Which meant the downside had to be that much greater. And it was pretty spectacular downside.
Yeah. So you end up, you continue to buy.
Yep.
You're buying the multifamily. Mm-hmm. How did the multifamily perform during the crash?
During the crash, multifamily was awesome during the crash. Crash happens, everybody loses homes. I was getting, actually the worst time to be a landlord in multifamily was 05.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because
everyone could buy.
I remember vividly declining people because of credit or income, and they bought a home.
They were like, whatever, I don't want this anyway. I'll just go buy.
I'll go buy a home.
Yeah.
It's wild. But yeah, during the crash, it was fine. We had best quality tenants. Highest income. Rents went up.
Yep.
It was pretty well. Occupancy was high.
Yep. So your buildings, it was the right move.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if I don't do those 1031s and we're stuck with 8 houses, right, my net worth goes down, but they all still cash flow because that's how I bought them.
Yeah.
But we would have been frozen. We'd have been stuck.
You had no equity.
No equity. Would have been limping along.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Underwater.
Yeah. Again, sometimes you got to make moves, right? I know there's lots of people who want to buy and hold and never do anything, but I think you got to manage your portfolio, manage your equity.
It's funny you say that because I was literally telling our students this maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. One of my students asked me, they're like, Ryan, so in our Airbnb program, actually, she was like, I heard you're selling your properties in Big Bear. Like, is there something that we don't know that like,
that's fair.
Why are you selling them? Like you've always talked about how they were such good investments and they've cash flowed. And I'm like, yeah, it's true. Like when I bought them 5 years ago,
mm-hmm.
These houses I bought for $200,000 are now worth $450,000, $500,000. And they've cash flowed tremendously, on Airbnb. I was like, but here's the thing, real estate investors, people who get into real estate think that they're going to hold a property forever. Like their mindset is, oh yeah, I buy this today and then 30 years from now, I'm going to have paid it off and like, I'm going to hold this forever. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Every real estate investor I know who gets to big levels is constantly moving and shaking their portfolio. I buy a piece of land on my mountain. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I think this is a good investment. And then, 2.5 years later, I buy a new house that I just moved into and I'm like, you know what? I don't really need this.
Yeah, don't want to do that again.
Yeah, let me just sell it, 1031 into another piece of land, or maybe, we're going to outgrow our office space. Let me 1031 it. Like, so
exactly.
In my mind, like nobody keeps real estate forever. Like that's doing volume. You're always trading for the next opportunity.
I think that's, so first off, let me say this. If you ever buy 4 rentals and that's all you ever do, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But if your goal is to move and leverage not only your cash, but your equity, you're going to be trading.
Yeah.
Right. That's just how this works.
Yeah.
Now, when you get to my side of the equation, right, I'm 23, 24 years in, I'm looking at my portfolio now going, hey, these 10, these are my daughters. Right. Because again, right, I'm going to die someday. She's going to have this. So I've got 10 allocated. They're the nicest stuff I own. We're going to keep those and those will be her when I go. But we're also looking at our portfolio going, wow, some of these houses are old.
Yeah.
What would it be like if we 1031 out of these into new construction?
Yep.
Right? New construction, if you go look at it today, it doesn't do very well. But if you're 23 years deep, you don't need a lot of cash, and you have all this equity, it might be the right move.
Oh, 1,000%.
Right?
Build to rent is huge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Built for like entire communities, all of that. So, and again, I 1031 into an office as well.
Yep.
In the past, it's just like you got to fit your needs. You got to move you're not doing yourself right if you're not at least thinking about that.
Yeah. One of my friends is one of the biggest developers literally in the world. He raises $1 billion a year.
Wow.
To do development. And I literally asked him this question. He builds sick apartment complexes, brand new, ground up, luxury apartments, cash flowing like crazy. And I go, bro, why don't you just keep them? Like they're new construction. They're
keep
sick.
1 of 4, right?
Yeah. I go, why don't you just keep them? And he goes, honestly, dude, you just look at, the math and everything else, and it just always makes sense to sell it and do it again. Because he's like, we're going to sell this and make $100 million. Like literally.
Right.
He's like, we're going to sell this and it's going to make $100 million.
Sure. And
then we're going to 1031 that into the next deal.
Yeah.
That's also going to make $100 million.
Yeah.
And then like, it's just, that's how they operate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, they know they have a system, a process, they can always find deals. And guess what? They make money, being syndicators on fees, on dispositions, acquisitions.
Yeah, so they can still live.
Yeah.
But they also are moving their equity up bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. They're moving their equity. They're making more fees. And then on top of that, it's just like, let's just say he didn't sell.
Sure.
Right. And he just chose to keep it, keeps his investors' money there, whatever, right? He's not making $100 million. It's just like in net worth now.
Correct. Yeah. It's on the balance sheet.
It's on the balance sheet. And yeah, he's cash flowing, but like, okay, he cash flows, whatever, a few million a year. Okay. But you can exit and get a huge thing and then huge so in the end, it just is like every big investor I know, they're moving. The money, the assets, it's always just changing.
Yeah. No, that's true. But let's because the same thing is for little investors, right? Smaller investors.
Yeah.
Right. Over the last, you and I were talking off camera about flipping in 18, 19, 20, sort of the best years ever to be in a small time flipper.
Yeah. 2021, also great.
Right. Yep. Also great. Just think about if you kept 1 out of every 4.
Yeah.
What you would have today.
Yeah.
Wealth is generally built, at least at the single family and the rental level, by holding. Right. You can absolutely make killings and equity and all of that, but a lot of flipping's a job and it's W-2 or it's highest taxed.
Yeah.
Not a lot of flippers 1031.
No, you can't.
Right. Yeah, because you're in and out so fast. But yeah, it's just interesting. People got to think about their portfolio entirely.
Yeah.
Right. What do you want to do? And equity is a part of that.
Yeah. Hey, if you're looking to grow your real estate investing business, whether you're just getting started trying to get your first deal or you're trying to scale and get to the next level, you need to join us at Wealthy Investor. We've got events every single quarter that are absolutely crazy. We've got online coaching programs where we have Zoom calls, a community every single week. We give you everything you need to know to start your business, scripts, processes, SOPs, all of it. It's for you so that you can dominate. So if you want to learn more about how to join our community and be mentored by me and some of our top coaches and be around other students who are absolutely crushing it, go to wealthyinvestor.com, apply for a free call with my team. Once again, wealthyinvestor.com, apply for a call today. You know, the hard thing with, I guess, rentals right now is, and I feel for people, is like the rates are high and the prices are high.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's tough today.
It just doesn't pencil on most deals. Yeah. And so, you know, we'll get deals that we can flip or wholesale. And it's like, all right, cool. We're going to make 40 grand on this.
Right.
If we choose to keep it, it's a great property. We're literally going to lose money.
Yeah. That's called an alligator. Don't do that. That's bad. Yeah. Negative cash flow, bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just what it is right now.
Yeah, it is very hard today. And again, I've been doing this a long time. This is the hardest.
This is the hardest time to keep a rental.
Correct. With today's prices and today's rates, you got to look for value add in unique places. The thing that I'm looking at today now, and this might be California specific. I don't know what Vegas has. We have these things called ADUs.
Yep.
Right. We actually, my market of Fresno, California has 5 approved plans, so it kind of streamlines that.
Okay, so you can just already start working on one of their approved plans.
Yeah, it's like $1,500 or $1,600. They come in, they want to make sure you got the setbacks right, but it's a streamlined process.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm looking at, right? Corner lots, alley access. You know, we can get the build down cheaper, but you got to be creative. You got to work at it. It's a hard time for sure.
Yeah. No, and look, you mentioned, what if you kept a couple, and I've done that throughout my career. I've never actively said, hey, I want to get this many rentals, or
right.
I'm going to keep 1 out of 4. It was always like, what's the best thing for this deal? Yeah. That's how I've always looked at it. And I'm like, dude, somebody's going to pay us 50 G's right now for it. It's hard to turn that down.
Yeah.
You know, and then you always, and I'm in a different market, right? Vegas is not a cash flow market.
No. Yeah,
you know, our prices are much higher than a Fresno or other spots. And
no
so
doubt.
you're always just, you're going to look at your market and it's going to dictate a lot of your decisions.
For sure. No, I mean, yeah, there are appreciation markets and there are cash flow markets in Vegas. You know, I don't know it at all.
It's an appreciation market for sure.
One of the things that I've seen people can do if you are in an appreciation market, because I live in Mountain View, California, which is a nutty market. Yeah. I looked for a year, nothing works.
Yeah.
Because I was only cash flow, nothing works. But most people, if you get, you know, pull out a map and you look 30, 60, 90, 2 hours away, you can find a cash flow market. And that's how I stumbled across Fresno. I knew no one, no relationships, never been there. I'm like, but I can buy a $100K house that rents for $1,100. Let's do that. So you can find them. Maybe it's not Vegas. I don't know what's close to Vegas, but maybe there's something out there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I bought Big Bear, which was 3.5 hours away.
Okay.
And I mean, with Airbnb, it was a massive cash flow market.
I'm sure.
The problem is they don't let you Airbnb in Vegas. Like if they did,
the hotels,
things would be a lot better.
Yeah.
But you know, nonetheless, I agree, because a lot of deals too, I've kept rentals just because they penciled and they were great and whatever. And then there were flips I kept that became rentals because they're bad flips.
The busted flip, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I
guess I got to keep this one.
Yeah. But to get to your point, if you just keep and hold and you're able to hold through the storm, you're going to win. I ended up, one of my deals, it's funny, I bought this house for $525 and we put $150 into it. So, you know, we were going to flip it. And this was a luxury deal at the time.
Okay.
And obviously not buying a luxury house to keep it as a rental.
Right. No. Yeah.
Okay.
Generally not. Yes.
Generally that's not the play.
Not where I play. No.
And, you know, whatever. We tried to make it. I thought I was going to make $100,000 on it. Okay. And, you know, time goes on and basically we were going to break even if we sell. And I'm like, no, dude, I put way too much money into this. Let's refinance it.
Okay.
I know it's going to cash flow a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm going to hold it because it's a great area. So I held it for about 3 years. And, you know, now what's my mortgage? I think my mortgage is $4,000 and it rents for $6,000 and it's worth 1.2. And, you know, there's $500,000 of equity on a busted flip.
That doesn't suck.
No. So, you know, at the end of the day, you can make the argument that, yeah, you know, if you would have kept all of them, you know, you'd have the same. But then, you know, for me, when my business at that time was just flipping houses. Like that is my income.
No, of course.
If I'm not making income, you know, I can't live my life the way I want to live it.
Yeah. And again, this is one of the things that I think is so unique about you and I together, right? It's a unique perspective I have, is I look at you and I think entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. I know myself, and that's not me. It's not naturally comfortable, right? I'm a W-2 employee. Tell me the rules. I'm going to bust my ass and work harder than anybody else and kill it. But I don't have that entrepreneur gene, right? So maybe it's just my lens, but I'm like, I do a lot less moves, right? A lot less moves, and just hold for 20 years, and eventually.
Yeah, let's talk about the mindset of a employee, right? Because I'll give you my thought process and then you give me yours. Let's go back to when you were working. Okay?
Of course.
So my thought process right now actually, let me go to my thought process when I first started, because that will help for most people. So when I first started, it was like, yo, every dollar counts because I don't make money. Right. So, okay, cool. I maxed out my credit cards. I flipped my first house. Great. I got more cash than I've ever had. Right. What do I do? Well, do I buy a rental right now, or do I double down on what I just did and buy two? Correct. And I'm like, okay, let's buy 2 flips. Okay.
No question.
We do 2 flips. They crush. I'm like, dang, let's triple. Let's do 3. Yeah. And, so I just keep growing the business and growing the business. And, my active income just starts to skyrocket and explode, right? Now, I tell people this all the time. I'm like, look, at the end of the day, when you're first getting started, if you're going full-time at real estate, that is your career as an entrepreneur, not as a passive income investor. You're just buying rental. Like, if you're going full force with this as a career, my advice is don't stick money in rentals right away.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep. Because it's just like, there's no point. You need to grow the business and deploy capital to hire people to do those things. And so early on, I never did any of that, because I was just like, yo, let's grow the business. Let's flip more. Let's just get this developed. And then later on, I will buy rentals. That was my mindset.
No, and again, that is the big difference, right? My job, again, just my lens when I was doing this, was to bust my ass for 60 to 70 hours a week selling enterprise software, traveling around the world. I was usually in 2 countries a week.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So you were doing face-to-face sales.
Yeah, face-to-face, absolutely. And running teams and all of that. So my job was to sell as much software as I could. Again, as I said earlier, we cut back on expenses and stack dry paper so we can go buy more and more assets, because I knew that the career I had was not long, right?
Yeah.
You don't age well in that career.
Why do you think that is? Well, just high stress?
It's high stress, and usually what happens is you start making good income, and then bad habits occur. You start feeding alcohol or other things, or divorce. It's just you try to feed. It's just, I have not seen many people in that line of work for that long that didn't find a vice that was really unhealthy.
Right. Okay. So that makes sense. So for you, you're making not good money at the start. Mm-hmm. I assume your income went up. What did your income get up to?
I think my best year was 800.
800K.
Yeah.
What was average?
440, 450.
Okay. So you're making $500,000 a year, which is great, right? And you basically said, hey, I'm going to maintain this, or, obviously I want to do better in my job, but I want to basically live at the lowest.
Our expenses never went up, right? We kept them
at $500K a year. What were you spending?
So that's obviously gross, not net.
Yeah.
We were probably living on 180-ish.
Okay. And so you were, saving a couple $100,000 a year to go invest.
Investing, yeah.
And that was it. You're just like, we're going to put every dollar towards real estate.
And then we did some more cash out refis, and everything was going to real estate. So that's how you get to a portfolio of that size,
Yeah.
Doing that. So
yeah. So you never had the urge to start a side hustle, or
I didn't know side hustle was a thing. Yeah. Again, I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't have a YouTube. I didn't have social media until I retired.
Yeah.
None of that. I had a LinkedIn page, because that's how we did, enterprise software.
Yeah.
None of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's wild.
So you just put every dollar back into real estate, and then
we didn't do squat. I didn't have a second car. I had a company car. We didn't flex on anything.
Yeah.
We moved into a house in Mountain View that we still had those little white square, tiles.
Kept them.
Just kept them, right? And that's how you do it, right? I think a lot of people get into this game and they get a little bit of success right? That little drop of cash flow grows into a stream.
Yeah.
It's like, I deserve this. No, you don't. You're so close to it become a raging river. And then you can go out and do all you want, right? You can buy season tickets to your favorite sports team and ball out with a crazy ass car and stuff.
Yeah.
But we did all that after 15 years.
After. Okay. So you end up accumulating 180 and were you just like, you know what? We're good. I don't need to do this anymore.
That's an interesting story. So my wife had retired early because she wanted out. I actually planned to work until I was 50.
Okay.
I loved my job. I loved it. I'd have done it for free.
Yeah.
Right. I just loved the energy and being that guy. And because I was a sales guy, we had new quotas every year.
Yep.
Right. New quota, new team, new products, all of the stuff.
And you want to be the top guy.
I want to be that guy. Right. So, you get an ego and you start telling people what you want and you don't want. I told my team I didn't want these 3 things. They gave me those 3 things. They gave me a new boss that didn't like me and I didn't like him. And within about 15 seconds of that conversation, I said, give me a package. I'll say nice things. You say nice things. I'm going to leave. 45 years old, right? February 1st, 2018. Just walked out the door. Oh, I went to work that day excited because I just killed it the year before.
Yeah.
Right? Going to be on stage, getting the big prizes. And I didn't make it to lunch. I was gone in the morning.
That's like, what's a whirlwind like, totally out of left field?
Oh, Olivia, I texted her on the way home and I was like,
she didn't believe you.
No, she didn't.
Yeah.
No, she didn't believe. She's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, honey.
Yeah, like I'm serious. I'm
done. Yeah, I'm done. I left. Yeah.
And then after she knew you were serious, how was that conversation?
She was a little shocked because, again, we'd always talked 50.
Yeah, and you just killed it.
Yeah, I just killed it. Just had a great year. We were going to go to wherever the next club event was, Hawaii or Mexico or wherever it was. And no, and I'm coming home at 11:15 and not going back. Yeah, I'm not, honey. I'm not going to work tomorrow. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Wow,
it was pretty wild.
So obviously, to have the balls to do that, you had the rental portfolio, giving you the security.
Yeah, we could have lived on the rental portfolio for the last 2 or 3 years easily and not sacrificed it.
Yeah. So to give somebody perspective, what does a portfolio like that actually make?
When you get to that level, right, you get to balance your portfolio. You can take loans, it depends on what you want, but easily 40 a month, if not more, depending on what you want to put debt on and take debt off and stuff.
Right.
But when when your monthly expenses are 12,
you're fine.
You're fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And it's going to keep going up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The last 2 years have been pretty good.
Yeah. Rents are going up. Yeah. Prices are going up.
Cash out refund or lowering rate and term, get a big check and your payment goes down.
Yeah.
That doesn't suck.
No. So you guys were good. You quit and then you're depressed.
Yeah. That's wild, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you ever get a chance,
I don't think it's wild, by the way.
Oh, well, you're smarter than I am because the first 2 days were great. I called every phone number in my phone, which I don't know if you've ever done, but that's wild.
No, I've never done that.
but I smiled so hard my face hurt. Right? And then it just got worse and worse and worse. And, when you don't have anything during the day, you're 45, all your buddies are flying around the world because they're still schlepping software. You have no purpose.
Yeah.
It was a horrible feeling. I almost got a job, Ryan. I almost got a job just to get a job. What if utter failure that would have been.
Yeah. So, I can tell you, it doesn't surprise me because, that's part of the reason I wrote The Wealthy Way, right? Is I see so many of these guys who are killing it, with their careers, and that does become their identity, whether they realize it or not, right? And then, they start neglecting everything else and it just becomes a problem, right? And when that is taken away from you, then you realize, man, how much you really value it. That happened to me when I was playing baseball.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
When I got released for the first time when I was 23 years old by the Oakland A's, they're like, hey, bro, we don't have a spot for you. Peace. And, you're 23.
Wow.
And you're like, wow, that was like my identity. Growing up since I was 5 years old, I was always
that guy,
the best baseball player on the team. And just
wow.
And then now they're like, you're not good enough. I've never been told that.
Yeah. Right. Wow.
So imagine that at 23, now having to go and say, man, I don't even know if I'm going to play baseball. What other skills do I have? I don't have any other skills. I wasn't an entrepreneur or a sales guy or a social media guy. I was just a baseball player.
Wow.
And so that was the first identity crisis I had. And that was honestly, I can say, the only time really in my life where I felt depression Like I've gone through a lot of problems and but like I never had depression from it. Like I was just like, dude, this freaking sucks.
Yeah.
But
been there. Yeah.
I'm gonna get through this.
Yeah.
But like that was like where I truly felt kind of like hopeless. And I was like, dude, what if I never play another game again? Wow. And if that's the case, what do I do? And
at 23.
At 23. Like my life's over, essentially. And so, and I was engaged to get married, and like there was just so many things going on. And so Mindy, you know, my fiance at the time, now wife, was like, I think you should keep playing. And I'm like, well, I don't know where I'm going to play. Like none of these teams want me, you know? And so I ended up going and playing what's called independent baseball, which is still professional baseball. But it's outside of the affiliated system of all Major League Baseball teams, right? So basically people go play independent baseball in hopes of getting signed again by a Major League team. Happens all the time, right? That's the logical next step for somebody who gets released over here, right? But my ego was like, dude, I'm playing that. Like, these guys are bums, you know? Like,
you got a taste and...
Yeah, like, dude, I belong with these guys, not these guys.
Wow.
But, you know, I had a team call me, and it was in Fargo, North Dakota, and, you know, I give credit to my wife because she's like, why wouldn't you play? Like, you've already trained. They want you. They have a spot for you. You know, there's going to be thousands of fans every game. Like, it's... You're going to play baseball and have fun. You're going to get an opportunity.
Your thing.
Yeah, and like if you prove yourself and you do really good, there's a chance you get back. I was like, you know what? Fine. I'll go play. So I played, and it was actually the funnest season I had in years.
Wow.
And I was super happy about it, and I ended up playing 5 more seasons.
Oh, wow. That's good.
But, you know, it was still like this period of like a month where I was like in limbo. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Like I literally applied to Allegiant Airlines. I'll never forget this. I don't even know if I've ever told the story. So, you know, I'm engaged. I'm like, dude, what am I going to do with my career? I had an econ degree like you, but I'd never had a job. I've never applied for a job. I don't even know. I've never been on an interview. I've never done any of this stuff. So, you know, I apply it like Allegiant because I'm like, all right, freaking, they're here in Vegas and I heard the airline's a cool job, whatever. So I apply there. No callback, nothing. I applied another job, nothing. No callback, like literally nothing.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, how do people get a job? Like, I don't even know. And I was like, I guess I'll go play baseball because I literally can't even do anything else. And so, you know, that ended up leading to playing baseball. And then, you know, I get married and that leads to my couch flipping days. Yeah. And like, I was like, oh, dude, I don't even need a job. Like I can make money on my own.
Wow.
Why do I need to go work for somebody?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's special. I think people have it. They have that gene. Entrepreneurship I think it's something buried deep that people can crank on.
Do you think people have to be like born an entrepreneur, or do you think they can become one?
Well, I certainly think they can become one because I fully admit to being a great employee. And over the last 4 or 5 years, by accident, I've making, you know, $500,000 a year, not even knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
On this YouTube and one rental at a time thing. So it certainly can happen.
Yeah.
But I think that ones that have the gift blow it out.
Yeah.
Right. Because you just see it different.
Yeah.
Right. You're playing chess. I'm trying to figure out checkers.
I mean, you're doing a great job at checkers.
Yeah, but it's just still checkers, right?
Yeah.
But I do think there are entrepreneurs, sort of like Gary Vee, right? I think there are some people that have it, right? Beyonce.
Yeah.
You can practice singing,
but you're not Beyonce.
You're not Beyonce. Yeah. You're not LeBron.
I mean, yeah, the same thing is in sports.
Yeah.
And even content creation.
Yeah.
You know, these guys, you're like, dude, this guy is just like unbelievable.
Correct.
Like,
yeah.
How does he do it?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yep. No idea. Then you got guys like me that never edited a video ever. Just hit record, publish, move on.
You're like,
one camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I got, man.
And it's working.
I'm having fun with it. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about that, right? So you have an identity crisis.
Yep.
But you're doing great. I mean, in all fronts, you've retired at 45.
Yeah.
You've got this portfolio. So, like, what did you do to get out of the funk? There's a lot of people watching the show that are in that funk too.
So again, I can only tell my story, and I admit to being in a position where I could take a risk. I I remember it was a weekend. It was Saturday, and it was saying, if I don't find something to do Monday, I'm going to take a job. I had people
just putting a deadline.
Yeah, I did. I had lots. I was very good at what I did. So I had 3 or 4 job offers for a stupid amount of money. And I'm like, if I don't find something to do by Monday, I'll take one. Just so I can get out of the depression.
Yeah.
That's how bad it got.
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling. And what I did is I realized I had to document my story of one rental at a time.
Yeah.
And I was just going to give it away. Right. I just wrote, because nobody had ever written a book that I could find from reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that inspiration through 15 years, the ups and the downs, what that was all about. I'm like, I'm just going to document the story. Because one of the things I did wrong is I didn't document the story. Right. I think one of the things you should do, especially as a parent, is take more pictures.
Yeah.
Right. And this is just, like, I don't have a picture of me at 30 in front of Norris Drive.
Yeah.
Right. So I took about 3 months to write one rental at a time, the draft that ultimately became the book. And I was like, this feels right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I take it to YouTube. I create the channel and, I think I did 1,000 videos the first year, not monetized.
Wow.
Right? Not monetized, 1,000 videos.
You just made videos.
Just made videos.
No like training.
Nothing.
Just like, I'm going to make videos.
Dude, nothing. I mean, my first, 500 were on my iPhone.
Yeah.
I just had
Were
a story
they podcast or you?
No, the first year was all me.
And what were you talking about?
I was just telling different stories about that property, this property. I was documenting the story, different parts of the book.
Got it.
I was taking news clips, right? I've done a daily financial news for, 1,000 days in a row.
Yep.
Right. So I've always read the news from 6 a.m. to like 7:30. I just started taking notes. So that was a video every day. So, yeah, it's wild. But really what I found with one rental at a time was I'm now impacting lives.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The money's interesting, but there's people with half of my skill making gazillions of more dollars because they talk fear.
Yeah.
Right. Doom.
Yeah.
Right. And
so I'll tell you this, like, I'm glad you brought that up because it's kind of funny. I was with Cardone actually a few days ago, and we were talking about this. We were talking about my baseball career, and he's like, dude, aren't you glad you didn't make it? Because look at you now. You make more than you would have made, and like,
yeah,
you can do it forever.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, dude. I mean, it was a blessing. Like, I would have never thought that I'd actually have a better career after baseball. But like, I also think now, looking back at it, why I didn't enjoy because like towards the end, I didn't enjoy it. I was like, I started to become very like, I don't want to say it became about the money because I always loved the game, but I was like kind of desperate. I was like, this is my only path to like building wealth.
Okay.
I didn't know about Rich Dad, Poor Dad or any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just have to make it. And so I put a lot of pressure on myself. And so it made the game not as fun. And, then you get, there's a lot of politics in the game that make you like pissed because certain guys play over you that don't even, they're not as good, but they sign for more money. And so like, there's all these things that come into play and you're like, dude, this isn't fair. So I started to become really disgruntled in baseball, and it made me, I guess, not like it as much. But even looking back at it now, I think another reason I didn't like it as much is because it didn't like fulfill any purpose. Because you go to the field every day and it's just like, I'm going to go play a game and then I'm just going to do that again the next day and the next day and the next day.
Yeah.
And it's like, who am I helping? Who am I impacting?
Yeah.
Like, what value am I bringing to the world?
That's a big thing. Yeah.
Look, I get it. Sports are entertainment. They can bring joy and they do have value. But in my mind, with my skill set and everything, it's like, it wasn't purposeful. And then like, I look at what I do today and it's like, man, when I throw a massive event with 1,000+ people, it's like people there are going to be changed.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be somebody there who's never heard of Michael Zuber or somebody else, and they've never thought about buying real estate. And now it's going to click and they're going to be like, yo, I need to buy real estate.
Yeah.
There's going to be people
addicting.
Yeah. Who've never made a video and they're like, I need to make content. And then it's going to just start this spiral that changes their life. And like that to me, obviously, like I make money doing all those things, but like it's purposeful.
Correct.
Like, man, I can see the impact and I could do it forever, regardless of the money.
That is such a good feeling. You're 100 times bigger than I am, but I get notes almost every day about changing people's future. And now they're talking generations.
Yeah.
Right. So that is, that's why I wake up and still have fun every day. Every day is amazing.
So talk about this. Like, I mean, you made 1,000 videos, you know.
I've made 11,000 as of today.
You've made 11,000 videos.
You can look at my YouTube. There's 11,000 videos. I make 6 a day.
You still do?
Still do. 6 a day.
What do you talk about?
So I have a daily financial show that goes live at 7:30, and then I do 2 hours. So I do 8 to 9, 9 to 10, and 10 to 11. I interview a guest for an hour, 3 episodes each. So I have 9 episodes. So I have 10 videos there, and I just schedule them out. I record 5 days a week. I don't record Fridays or Saturdays. I just post the extras on those days.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So how many hours a day is it filming?
3 hours.
Okay.
8, 9, 10.
Yep. And you just, obviously you love it.
Oh, I love it. I get to talk to people that are fun doing deals. Everybody I talk to is not a poser.
Yeah.
They're doing deals today.
Yeah.
They're having challenges today.
Yeah.
We talk for 12 minutes on, 3 different topics. These are all my buddies now.
Yeah. Like, what would you say to somebody, right? So here's something that's interesting. You know, you did 1,000 your first year.
Correct.
And I tell people this all the time. We have a program called Wealthy Creator where we teach people how to do social media.
I've seen it. It's very good.
Thank you. And one thing I always tell their students is I'm like, hey, it's quantity over quality. So many of you are trying to make the perfect video and you just don't even like record it or like you don't even release it because it's just not perfect. And I'm also like, look, you would have been better off. Like, even if you made one perfect video for the week, I would have rather you had 3 imperfect videos getting released that week.
Correct.
In the same amount of time. And like for me, I know that I did the same thing. I was like, let me just release as much content as humanly possible. And my quality will improve as time goes on because I'm getting reps in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
you're finding your voice.
Yeah. And then you did 1,000 your first year. And how many, and this is interesting. I think I already know what the answer is going to be.
Oh, no.
But, how many subs did you end up getting that first year?
Well, I wasn't monetized, so it'd be less than, what was that, 4,000 or whatever the number is?
Right.
Yeah.
So most people would call that a failure. They'd be like, yo, I made 1,000 videos and I still didn't get traction the way that
yeah, it's funny.
I was hoping to get.
Yeah, I did something. You and I met at Sean's Think Media. We were both being interviewed for Think Media, right?
Yep.
So one of the things I did for him is I did a documentation of my income from my side hustle, which again, I'm not an entrepreneur. All of this is by accident.
Yeah.
So for the first year, nothing.
Zero.
1,000
videos.
1,000 videos.
Thousands of hours.
Thousands of hours, nothing. And money being spent, right?
Yeah.
Bought a camera, got a mic, right? Got a light, all that stuff. The next year, right, we have YouTube, books, all these other things. I think I make, I don't know, $75. I'm still negative. I'm still down. Now I'm 4,000 videos or 3,000 videos deep.
And how many subs at that time?
It's probably, so now I'm monetized, so it's probably 5,000, 6,000.
You've done this many videos with 5,000 subs.
Absolutely.
You might be the only man in history who didn't quit.
Yeah, no, I
for that many videos.
I have a nickname. They just call me the Hammer, right? That's my gift.
Just hammer them out.
Yeah, just go. My whole life, it's like if I am focused on something, it doesn't matter. I'm excited by the next one, not the last one.
You're unfazed.
Unfazed, didn't care. I've looked at my market for 22 years in a row, every freaking day. I'm so excited about tomorrow, not yesterday. I'm broken. I am freaking broken.
Yeah,
but it's a gift.
You're
also.
an anomaly for sure.
No doubt. But again, I think there's value if people hear what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
I have a channel called One Rental at a Time.
Yep.
I have built a tribe. It started as me. There was nobody else for 2 years. Then Anna Kelly, she goes by RAI Mom, goes, hey, I like what you're doing here. I would like to come on. So she was my first repeat guest.
Okay.
And then that led to others.
Yeah.
And then I fill in with other folks, like you've been on the channel 3 times.
Yep.
Right, that are gracious enough. Now the channel's nearly 50,000.
Yep.
Now that means something.
Yeah.
Right?
50,000 is great.
Right? So,
but my point with that is that you're at 50,000 now, which people would consider
5 years deep.
Yeah. And they'd consider, 50,000, that's a great YouTube channel. And then it's like, well, did you know he had to make 11,000 videos to get there? Would you make 11,000 videos to get to 50,000? Most people are like, no way.
Well, here's the trick. If you want to be really big on YouTube really, really fast, do scare porn videos, doom porn. Doom porn, Crash Bros. Everything. The world is falling apart. Just scare people.
Yeah.
That's where the clicks are.
Yeah.
That doesn't fill my cup.
No. No. I mean, look, guys who have been on my show like Graham Stephan and Meet Kevin and, other guys, that's how they got there. And it is what it is. But to your point, I'm with you. Like, I don't make that kind of content.
If you want to make income, that's where you go. But if you want to make impact, you want to get a note a day about changing somebody's lives, that's how you do it.
But I would even argue you can still make income. Like, I'm living proof.
No, you can.
You don't, like, you could still make a lot of money without having to do that crap.
No, you can't. It's just not as fast.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely not going to get as many views.
Yes.
As the doomsdayers.
Yeah. But it's just know that. But again, I think we have to shine the light on the doomers. I call them doomers.
Yeah.
Right. If you shine a light in a house that, it's been vacant or foreclosed on, the cockroaches run away.
Yeah.
We just got to shine a light. I think the more and more people realize that the doomers are hurting them. How many doomers told you not to buy a home in 2020?
Yeah.
I have an econ degree. I've gone back to 1970.
Yeah.
And looked at all this economic data. 2020 was the second best year ever to buy a home.
Wow.
On affordability scale.
Wow.
And they were telling you, they were screaming from the mountaintops, don't buy a home.
Yeah.
2021, same thing.
Yeah.
It's just.
I was on my channel telling people to buy.
Absolutely. Hand over fist.
Yeah.
I had never flipped a home. I did 60 flips or 56 flips in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is easy.
Yeah.
Buying out of the MLS. No cold callers, no mailers, no door knocking.
Just get
buy
deals.
junks out of the MLS, polish them up, sell them. 56.
Yep.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
It was wild. I was really glad I was not employed because I couldn't have done it if I had my day job.
Yeah.
But you had a team. I already had a decade or 15 years experience there. It was wild.
Yeah.
It was remarkably easy. Once you have the team, that's the hardest part, at least I would think.
Yep.
But if you look at deals every day, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, you already knew the market.
Already knew the market, knew the streets, knew what people wanted. Yeah. I actually did something different. I didn't sell to homeowners. I sold to landlords. Right. I called them pride of ownership flips. So I even stuck a tenant in and
wow.
Yeah, I did the whole thing. I guess now today it's called turnkey. I didn't know what it was then.
Yep.
But that was what I was doing. It was fun.
And that was in Fresno too.
Everything's been Fresno. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. It's funny because, I mean, back in 2020, that was when I got on YouTube and I remember seeing that stuff and I'm like, am I the only one who thinks this is going to like go up? Because people are dumb. And I'm like, all right, guys, here's what I'm doing. I got 40 flips going on right this second.
Yeah.
Like, I'm buying.
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy everything humanly possible. Send me your deals. Everyone else who's scared, thank you.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up, being scared. I did a video. So last Thanksgiving. So this would have been 2022. There was an article by Yahoo Finance that said 87% of people think it's a bad time to buy a home.
Yeah.
I got pissed off. I did. I just got pissed off. I hadn't bought a home in like 10 months. I'm like, I told my audience I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy one out of the MLS, nothing special, fully documented, have receipts to prove it. I not only bought one, I bought two and I made 90 grand. I'm like, you guys just don't know. It's in the MLS. Everybody had 30% less than list price.
Yeah.
This is not hard. Just do the work.
Yep. Just make the offers.
Just write the offers. I get told no all the time. I get told hell no all the time.
Yeah.
Next one, please.
Yep. So what's the side hustle that you got going on now?
Now it's just, I consider it helping people. I don't really, it feels unnatural to me.
Yeah.
One rental at a time is my thing. There's a book, a YouTube channel, website. But yeah, so it's really everything starts with YouTube for me.
Yeah. But you said you're making $500,000 now as an entrepreneur. Like, what are you doing?
So I'll just give the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So it's roughly, I think last year was 87 grand on YouTube.
That's great.
Yeah. It's 87 grand.
Yeah.
About 100 grand in books, Audible and Amazon.
Dude, your books are selling that great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's like 25, 30 books a day on average.
Wow.
Something like that.
So you're making, 8 to 10 grand a month on book sales.
Yeah. It's probably more like, with Audible included. Yeah. Cause now they're both on Audible. Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah. One rental at a time is a big one. The other one, 15 conversations with real estate millionaires, is probably more valuable. But one rental at a time is my brand. So I guess people buy that first.
Yep.
But then there's course sales and, referrals and things of that nature. But yeah, it's 480 was my tax return last year.
And what's the course sales do?
280, 290.
Yeah. And it's on buying rentals.
Yeah. It's called it's how to get started one rental at a time. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And where can people find that?
Everything's on my website, onerentalatatime.com.
Cool. Yeah. No, that's amazing. And I mean, you're
all by accident. I have no idea.
Yeah. And I already know you. You're not like promoting things the way like I do. It's just like people find your stuff.
They find it.
Because you're making so much content. It's just, you know, if somebody follows you, they're going to end up they're going to go down the rabbit hole some way.
Yeah. I probably mention my course or books 1 out of every 40 videos.
Yeah. So once a week for you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, once a week. Yeah, like once every other day.
Yeah. For the amount of videos you make.
That's funny.
But
that's funny.
What's the goal then? I mean, like, look, I mean, we all have goals. And so I don't know if 180 was a goal for you. No, I don't know if like you have a YouTube goal. Like,
so I do have a YouTube goal.
Okay.
So about 2 years ago, I was at 12,000 or 12,500 subs. And one of my boys that comes back every week challenged me to get to 50,000. I'm at 12. And you got to remember, this is like 4 years deep. So I think 50,000 is
That's so far.
Yeah. I'm like, sure.
That's going to take 10 more years.
What do you want to do? He goes, let's do an event in Vegas.
Okay.
So I said, okay, if we get to 50,000, we'll do an event in Vegas. So I said he's spending my money. So now we're at 46, almost 47,000. So it's around the corner.
Yeah.
So we're going to come back and do an event here somewhere.
Guys, if you want to go to an event in Vegas, go subscribe right now to one rental at a time. I mean, we might get you there like after this episode. You never know.
That would be, I would be very nice. It's been a long journey.
This episode, I mean, let's just say we get 10,000 views. Okay. I just need 30% of you to go subscribe and we're there.
That would be nice, Ryan.
Yeah.
I would. Thank you for spending my money.
Yeah. So what's the event going to be on?
So I did a test run of this in Fresno in my backyard last summer, and I do events, or I will do events different. No pitching, no PowerPoint. Mm-hmm. What I will do is build a Rolodex of people that I know and trust. We will get them on stage for an hour, and the audience will ask questions.
Oh, just a pure Q&A event.
Pure Q&A. We'll get 5 minutes of intro so people know who's who in the zoo.
Yeah.
And then the audience will line up at mics and we will ask questions.
That's an interesting event.
Yeah. And then, there'll be a sponsor, we'll do a panel with financing and stuff. But yeah, it'll be just a totally different experience. The audience will get what they want. No, the only thing that won't happen is PowerPoint. I freaking hate PowerPoint. I lived in PowerPoint for 20 years. It'll never be at one of my events. Yeah.
All right. That's good. So the YouTube goal is obviously 50.
Yeah.
You're trading in and out of your portfolio.
Correct.
And, all this stuff, and you're feeling a lot more fulfilled.
It's such I smile. I'm so happy. It's so much fun.
So what do you think, like somebody who's listening to this, they're W-2 right now, they don't know what to do. Like let's go through the first steps to building wealth.
So I believe building wealth is a very simple 3-step process. Mm-hmm. Step 1, you have to find a way to create what I call dry powder. It's called disposable income.
Okay.
There are only 3 ways to do that. 1, you could do what I did, get religious and cut expenses.
Yep.
2, you can create more income. Or 3, you do both.
Yeah. I'm of the mindset of 2. But I will say, even though I say that now, it's because like I've learned like how to keep making more and more money. Yeah. But like when I was getting started, I was definitely both. I'm like, I was very frugal, didn't waste any money.
Yep. And
then I was like also very focused on increasing my income. I do have a problem when people only think about cutting expenses.
No, I agree. The latte factor and all of that.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of that, but there are some of you have a spending problem.
Yeah.
Not an income problem.
Right.
There are some people.
Yeah.
So again, there are only 3 ways to create dry powder.
Yeah.
Cut expenses, increase income, or do both.
Right.
Doing both is probably the right answer, but you do you. Right?
Yeah.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
Then number 2 is you have to become elite at something, right? You have to become elite. So what does that mean in my world? For me, it all started with a buy box of 93703 single family homes, 3 or 4 bedrooms between 1250 and 1750 square feet. I looked at that one search criteria for 3 years.
Okay.
In about 6 months, I knew that better than any other broker in the market.
Yeah.
So that allowed me to see things that others didn't see. So you have to become elite. I don't care if it's classic cars, content creation, anything it is, but you have to find something to become elite at. You have to become unbalanced. This whole notion of becoming balanced is hogwash.
Yeah.
You have to become elite. And then the number 3 is time. It takes time to become wealthy. I think it takes 10 years. I think if you're willing to sacrifice, continue to do this, don't get bogged down and stop the snowball going downhill and saying, I deserve something, you can be wealthy in 10 years.
Yeah, I agree. I think, so I don't speak to the W-2 people much because it doesn't even like come through my mind to even think of, because I just have never been there. So I don't know like the struggles of W-2. Yeah. In my mind, I'm like, well, just freaking go quit and like do be an entrepreneur. Like, it's that simple.
Yeah. So that's I get it. And that's why I think we're a pretty good combination, because that's all I think about.
Yeah.
I was a 30-year-old guy with a daughter, married, and struggling.
Yeah.
Paycheck to paycheck, making 2 bills a year. Not a great feeling.
Yeah. And you're thinking everybody else is thinking you're doing great.
Yeah. Everybody. And oh, by the way, what does the future hold? I get to do this freaking job every year. My quota I go to 0 February 1st every year.
Why is it February 1st?
That's just the quarter. That was the year. Every company has a different fiscal year.
Got it. Okay.
Right. 12-month period, right? January.
Right,
It could have been January 1st for all I know. But yeah, it's W-2 employees have it hard, man. It's hard out there. Yeah. Most people don't have the ability to create more income in their W-2. I was lucky because I had a commission.
Yeah. I
have what's called an on-target earnings. Let's say the OTE.
Yeah, you were kind of already an entrepreneur.
Yeah, because I had my own little business, small business.
Yeah, you can build it as big as you want.
Exactly. So I was lucky in that regard, and I was very good, and I was, more importantly, willing to invest in becoming better. But most folks are tapped out. They're like, I'm an accountant.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a project manager.
Yeah, you make what you make.
Make what you make. Maybe there's a little variability on a raise, maybe this, maybe that, but that doesn't really happen a lot.
Right.
Those folks need help, man.
Yeah. Yeah, those folks, I mean, so let's talk about those folks, right? Because sales guys, to me, are very entrepreneurial, you know?
Fair.
It's like, yo, you don't like how much you're making? Go freaking sell more.
Go sell more.
Yeah, like, maybe just do your job a little better.
A little better.
Yeah, or, you know, a lot better. Go prospect a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Go freaking close deals that should have been closed.
Yeah, exactly.
Follow up.
Follow up.
Yeah, like
the money is in that lead pile over there.
Yeah, you know all those leads the company paid, you know, millions of dollars for?
Exactly.
Just go tap in.
Yeah.
You didn't pay for them.
Go. And no, I agree.
Yeah, so the commission people and sales guys and stuff, I look at them like entrepreneurial already.
Fair enough.
Now, for the person who truly is like on a fixed income, it's tough, right? You have 2 choices. Choice number 1 is, to your point, the only way is like if that is your job and that's like your cap, you're cutting expenses. You have no choice. It's like, yo, you want to be financially free?
We got to know. Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna have to learn to live off nothing
for a little while,
depending on how quick you want to build wealth.
Yeah,
like,
but it's not
depending
forever.
on how much you make.
It's not forever.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
So you do that, or you make the choice to move careers, get a side hustle.
That's where I hope that goes, your side hustle. Like
the
thing that you've built. I think there's so many W-2 employees that don't understand the side hustle. Like when I was, I got married at 19. I worked 7 days a week at 3 different jobs for 3 years. Right. I had student debt, all of that stuff that I had to pay for, and I was married. That's all I could do was sell hours.
Yeah.
Today, with my phone, all these things, I mean, if you like video games, you like classic cars, you make jam, you do yarn, whatever it is, there is money out there.
For sure.
Right? In your program, I've seen it. Again, if I was a W-2 employee like an accountant, I would find something.
Yeah. Go flip a house, flip a couch.
Well, even just talk about what you love. If you love being an accountant, you know how much you could geek out with that? So I think anybody today with a W-2 job, all of them have a passion.
Yeah.
It's something. There's money right there for you.
Yeah.
If you can have mentorship and leadership from guys like you, there's something there.
Yeah. I had a guy who, he's got his business and he's like, bro, I just love pickleball. He's like, I want to
go nuts,
make content on pickleball. I'm like, do it, dude.
Go.
You'll make money.
Yeah. If you're and it won't feel like a job. That is the beauty.
Yeah.
About if you can make your side hustle your passion.
Yep.
It becomes fun. And oh, by the way, there's a whole bunch of tax savings.
There's always ways to monetize hobbies.
Exactly. I wish people would pick that up.
This is, that's why I call myself a pro golfer, because I was like golfing one day and I was like, you know what? I bet you people would pay me to do this. Like, I bet you I could do consulting on the golf course and people would love it. I was like, I'm just going to test it. So I freaking put it out there and I was like, I don't know what people would pay, but I was just thinking in my mind, I was like, what would I pay to golf with like a Cardone or a Patrick Bet-David? Like, how much would I pay to go do that? And I'd be like, I'd pay a lot of money to go spend 5 hours on the golf course. Like, dude, I'd pay a lot. I was like, man, I mean, I'm not on their level, but people like me. So how much would they pay to golf with me? And so I was like, I'm just going to put it out there for like $2,500, 5 hours. Like, that's way lower than what my hourly rate would be, right? I was like, this is a great deal if I'm looking at it. And you're going to have fun.
Yeah.
And like, it's not a Zoom call where it's like, there's no real like relationship that way.
Yeah, it starts odd on the first hole. By the fifth hole, you're best friends.
Yeah. And I was like, let's just try it. And then like literally I did one IG story and we sold 20. I was like,
price is too low. Let's do it again.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so the price is definitely higher now. But to the point of like, it was right there the whole time. It was a hobby.
Yeah. And now you get to write that stuff off. You get to write off your
Oh
golf
yeah,
simulator.
my country club is a write-off.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
that's why
everything.
you take your hobby.
Yeah.
You monetize it, make it a business. Not only can you get the income, but your expenses change.
Yep.
It's just the magic of the tax code.
Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day because we're about to launch our golf mastermind. So last year I did a mastermind for 7-figure entrepreneurs, and it was just 10 people. And I said, hey guys, here's the deal. 10 people, 10 grand a piece. We're doing 2 days of golf in the morning, and then in the afternoons for like 5 hours, we're just diving deep into businesses. And, you know, then we're going to have dinner and all this stuff. It was a great experience. People loved it. They're like, dude, when can we do this? Like, how do we sign up for next year? Like, they were already ready.
I'm ready to commit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was actually thinking about this today while I was out on the course, because I was golfing right before this. And I was like, you know, at some point, I'm going to have made $1 million from golf. I was like, that's freaking crazy. Like,
that's got to be better than the average PGA. Certainly a year.
For sure.
Think, right?
For sure. And I'm just like, that's a 7-figure business.
You're a pro golfer. Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it doesn't even have to be at that level.
No,
okay?
of course not.
People can monetize their hobbies so much more than, like, when I started flipping couches, it was like, honestly, what my hobby was at that time was finding deals. My wife will tell you, I've just always been a deal finder, no matter what. If it was we were buying a car, I'm like a shark. I'm like looking at every single opportunity, making offers. Like, she knows I loved it. Then like, oh, we're going to go on a vacation. Let me go find the best deal of like the travel. And like, I just loved it. And then obviously that bled over into real estate, and, you know, was a way better use of my talent.
Sure.
And today it's the same thing. I just love the hobby of a deal. So like, that's kind of how couch flipping came to be, where I was like, I negotiated, you know, all of our furniture for our first apartment. I was like, man, that was fun. Like, that was cool. Like, I feel really freaking hyped that I just furnished this whole thing for $1,000.
Exactly.
And then I was like, what if I just like could do that every day and just made deals and made money, and then it became a business.
There you go. Yeah. I think, you know, what you're doing for folks out there with your following, if you can get W-2 employees to realize that there's just something there past, you know, the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Because again, if you can create more dry powder, you can get one more investment, you could change your financial future.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is there's something there. You got to focus on the W-2. They need help.
Yeah. No, I agree. I gotta really like start thinking about them in my content and my marketing and everything else.
There's a lot more of them.
Oh, way more. So, you know, the W-2 basically has that choice. Just don't make more money and save, or figure out how to make more money with a better job or a side hustle.
Correct.
One of those two. And I think that's great. And then I think, you know, you can follow the path that you talked about. Like, hey, save up a down payment and buy just that first deal, right?
Just get the one.
Pick a market, right? There's no excuse. If you're in Silicon Valley, like Mike was, you think you could make an excuse, or you could find the Fresno and go invest there, right?
Correct.
You're in Vegas, you're in LA. There's still markets around.
Inland Empire or whatever. There's cash flow markets.
There's cash flow markets you can invest in. So no one has an excuse there. Now, for the employee who's willing to take a risk and become an entrepreneur quicker, like I have a philosophy called make, manage, multiply.
Make, manage, multiply. Okay.
Yep. So I liked yours where it was a 3-step process.
Yep.
Ours is very similar. And it basically is, it kind of is, my first step is what you said with become elite. So step 1 is make. You need to figure out how to make $250,000 a year. That's our first step. Okay. So how do you do that? You don't do it from having like 5 side hustles. You do it from one thing. Yep. You master one thing and become elite at one thing.
Thank you.
So, hey, if you want to be a house flipper or a wholesaler, dominate that.
Do that.
And that's what I did. I was like, I want to be the best house flipper I can be. I'm not worried about marketing. I'm not worried about hiring people. I'm not worried about, you know.
You're not worried about 17 markets?
No.
You're in one market.
I'm in Vegas, and I am going to flip and be the best that I can be. And that's what I did. And look, there's lots of other ways to go about this. Like, for instance, somebody could have been elite doing your job, right? Oh, dude, gonna go make 250, being a sales guy. I can make 500,000 being a sales guy. Like, dude, you make $500,000 a year, you could be like you. Like, you could become very wealthy doing just that one skill. So I always tell people who are in this stage, I'm like, real estate to me is a great one because it requires no degrees, no special skills. It's going to be around forever. It's always good. So I believe like real estate's like the easiest way to get to that path.
It is absolutely the easiest way, but it's also a way to get distracted. So many butterflies or shiny pennies or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Pick your freaking lane.
Yeah. Pick the lane. And look, you could get there with Airbnb. You could do arbitrage. You could do property management. I don't care what you choose.
You do you.
Just pick one.
Yep.
You could even go content creation. There's lots of ways to go.
Agreed.
Now, once you figure out how to make 250, a bunch of things start to open up. One is you now have like a skill you can rely on that's going to bring food on the table regularly. That's your career now. You don't have to ever worry about, a job or an employer. The next stage is called manage.
Okay.
This is when we tell people like, hey, okay, we need to take that skill you have and learn to become a business owner with that skill. We now need to learn how to manage other people and get them to do the skill for you. And so at this stage, it's going from 250 as like a solopreneur with one skill to now running a business and trying to get to 7 figures. Okay. So
this is where I've clearly failed. I have none of manage. I'm stuck.
Well, let's use you for an example right now, right? So, you got the $500,000 business. And we'll just call this an education business.
Sure.
Because that's the majority, right?
Yeah.
Books, courses, education. So the next stage for you, if you really want to scale and like all this stuff is, okay, let's go to the manage stage. Okay. Let's now start hiring people to take this to 7 figures this year. Okay. So who do we hire? Well, let's hire, somebody to help you do marketing better, right? Let's hire an editor.
Marketing at all.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Like, so you would hire a marketing person, let's increase the quality of your YouTube videos just a little.
Sure.
Right? Okay, I know you want to release a lot, but let's edit them just a hair better.
Sure.
Okay, so you hire an editor. Okay, you start getting a sales guy. Like, why don't you have somebody selling your stuff behind the scenes too? You're going to have all these people who look at the website and don't buy. Why is somebody not following up with them, right? So these are the things that we would be, because like, here's the thing for me is like, if I believe my course and my book and my everything is like going to change lives, I should do everything humanly possible to get people to buy it, right? And so I have a big sales team that believes it. Like they believe what they're selling, right? So, just by hiring maybe 3 people right now, you could get to 7 figures with what you currently have. That's not even, saying like the low-hanging fruit is, well, okay, the next stage for you is to start some kind of mentorship because, even though the course is great, there are people who want access.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? And you would enjoy it,
Probably, yeah.
So you're already thinking about an event. Like all those things are going to start to come into play. And it's like, boom, you would get to 7 figures. No doubt about it in my mind. Like this year, like if you just did it this year, from this point forward, I believe you get to 7. Now, once you get to 7 figures, you now go into the multiply stage. And for me, this is when you are now making like a lot of money every year. And now it's time to multiply the money. It's not like your business is built, which is amazing. Now you get to just multiply the fruit from the business. And so this is where, hey, all right, let me just start buying rentals. Let me start, doubling down on my business and reinvesting into ads or more people or whatever the case is. Let me start a new business if I want. Like at this stage, this is where I'm like, okay, you want to start a new business? Cool. You've earned the right to start a new business.
Okay. I like it.
Because
manage, multiply.
Yeah, most people try to start 3 businesses in the make stage. And I'm like, what makes you think you could run a business? You don't even know how to run one. How do you think you can run 3?
Exactly.
But if you've made it this far,
right,
you have proven the ability to build a business.
I like that. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So that's kind of like my philosophy for the W-2 person who's like, look, I don't even like my W-2.
Yeah.
Like, if I had a way, I would quit this tomorrow.
Right.
And so it's like, all right, well, let's learn a skill. let's learn a skill that makes you 250. Like that has the potential to make 250.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of skills you could learn where it's like, you know, you'd be like, yeah, make an extra 2,000 a month. And it's like the cap of that skill is
2,500 or
yeah.
whatever,
And it's like, sure, that's nice to supplement.
Yeah.
But it's never going to change your life.
Right. I like it.
Yeah.
Make, manage, multiply. Okay.
Make, manage, multiply. I would love to see you get to 7 figures.
I would have to do new things.
Yeah.
And I would like to have to hire people for sure.
Well, you have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are people who get to 7 figures without hiring anyone, right? But then it's just, it always is like, it's what I would say untapped potential.
Correct.
Right? Because if you got
That's clearly where I'm sitting, is untapped potential.
Yeah. So like the thing is, and this is what I try, so this is why people hire me for like coaching and stuff. Like the thing is, what you're doing is so big and so important that you kind of have an obligation to do it to the best of your abilities. And so it's just like, man, okay, why am I not hiring people? You know, like, is it me just wanting to like kind of be a solo guy? And maybe I'm scared. Maybe I'm like, I don't want to deal with managing these fools every day. Like, trust me, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has to figure out what they actually want to do.
Where they be comfortable. Yeah.
But the thing that I was at is like, man, okay, if the mission is like, all right, well, Ryan, we want to help as many people as possible. It's like, all right, well, we got to do it bigger.
Yeah, if that's the mission, then
you don't have a choice. You have to hire people. There's no like that is it. But I don't know. I hope it fires you up.
It certainly has made me think. I did not come here thinking this is how it was going to end. But yeah,
you're like, dang
honey, I went to Ryan and said we got to hire some people.
We got to hire some people. He had this studio. There's these people walking around doing stuff. I was like,
and it was Friday, and there's
yeah. These people left halfway through the day, and like Ryan fired them right then and there. It was crazy. But
that's hilarious.
No, you know what's funny too is like once your business starts growing, I was telling them this the other day. Like every week I walk in here, there's like somebody new that we've hired.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do. I don't know what their name is, what they do, who they are. And, you know, because the department heads,
of course,
they hire them.
And
like, you know, and half of them are too scared to say hi. So like, I don't even know what their name is. Right. And I'm just like, whatever. I just got like so many other things to do, but it's just funny, like how that goes. And like, for me, I just know as I grow, the business is bigger. It's like, man, we're creating more opportunities for employees.
I clearly see it. It was really impressive shop.
Yeah. So that would be my encouragement to you.
I've received your feedback. Yes.
Okay. So let me ask you the second thing that we had mentioned early on was syndication. So why don't you do syndication or anything like that?
So it's funny you bring this up. So I didn't do syndications in the beginning because, again, I had a W-2 job. It was only my thing. I figured it was deeper, and I didn't want to take other people's money and have them be equity.
Yeah.
We were building our thing.
Yep.
And I only had so many minutes in the day.
Yeah.
So that was why. Now I'm free.
Yeah.
Now I can.
Yeah.
Right. So actually, I went to an event a couple of months ago in Vegas, and there were people doing $100 million deals, all of those things. We were clearly the smallest fish in that room. And I still don't think I want to take that responsibility. I don't mind borrowing money if you're the debt.
Yeah.
Because if I mess up, you foreclose, you take the building.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do a deal like they did in Houston, Texas, where they burned $100 million in equity. Right. That's coming.
Yeah.
So that's just, I don't want to do that. Yeah. I don't mind losing debt being foreclosed on if that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
I don't want to burn someone's equity. That's my personal opinion. But yeah, I've raised tens of millions of dollars, but it was all debt, not equity.
Yeah. I just didn't know, and that's fair. I just didn't know if it was because I have seen this before with some people where they're like, oh, well, I don't want partners. Like, I would rather just own everything 100%.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. It's the security. It's if I fail.
Yeah, you don't want to let people down.
Yeah, and I don't have to, right? I'm already good.
Yeah.
Right. If I was just starting out, I might do that because it would just be that accelerant. But I don't have to. And there were some people I were talking to that were in bad deals.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to have that risk.
Yeah. Yeah, because even like, if we ever go through another 08, right? It's like, who knows what's going to happen.
Who knows? Yeah. And that's one of the things we did after 08 is we have a small kitty of properties that are free and clear on purpose. I call it the old blank pile.
Yeah.
Right. Everything else goes away. Those ones are good.
Yeah. If these all get foreclosed on, I got 10.
Other problems.
Yeah. I got 10 though.
Yeah. I'm good to go. We can scrimp by.
Yeah. My mind is funny because I'm such a risk taker. Like, I'm just like a gambler, dude. And it's not that like I buy deals that are gambling. Like, I'm a gambler in the sense that I'll try anything.
Sure.
I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's do NFTs. Like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
You know, let's do a big event and we'll spend like hundreds of thousands and like hopefully it works.
Right.
And like, you know, I think it's going to work, but whatever, right? When I invest with other people's capital, it's a totally different story,
It
right?
has to be, yeah.
Like, I have literally a fiduciary duty
As the GP, yeah.
yeah. And so like, I mean, everything's with the SEC. So like, that's different than how I am like a gunslinger
Right.
in all these other things. But, you know, people will ask me, they're like, bro, like, why? What motivates you to keep taking risk and doing these things? And I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's funny. I think other people would see them as risks, but where you are today, they're not nearly as risky.
no,
Yeah.
no.
They're not gonna implode the business or something.
That, and I just, like, I come from baseball where it's like you fail 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah, that's right. You're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I come from like, I know you have to fail 99 out of 100 times on offers to get one accepted.
Amen to that.
Like, I know you're going to make a bunch of videos before you get a viral one.
Yeah.
You know, so
I'll let you know if that ever happens. It hasn't happened yet.
you have to make 11,000 videos.
It'll eventually happen.
Yeah. So for me, I just know everything big is going to happen by continuing to take action and like take chances.
It's funny. We see the same thing. For me, taking action is the key.
Yeah.
And I think too many people look in the rearview mirror.
Oh yeah. They live with regret.
I said this earlier. I'll say it again. I'm excited for tomorrow. I don't even remember yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. It's such a better way to live.
Yeah.
Is to think about tomorrow.
No, 100%. Well, bro, it's been a lot of fun, man, seeing you and catching up with you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
I really enjoyed.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. You got to help those W-2 employees.
I am.
We need some help.
I'm going to do more for the W-2. If you're W-2, comment below right now. Let me know your W-2. Let me know what you struggle with. I mean, it's way late in this podcast, but if you're still here, if you leave a comment, you never know. The fairies in my the comment fairies might bless you with something. So who knows? But anyways, make sure you subscribe and let's get Mike to 50,000 so you can throw this event in Vegas, and I might even show up. You never know, guys. So, all right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
A lot of people, they see Graham and they're like, oh my gosh, this is my idol. This is the man, so they don't want to check him.
Yeah.
They don't want to say, Graham, I think that your opinion here is wrong. And we totally have different perspectives on life. Some things like, you're like, dude, he's so smart. And other times you're like, this makes no rational sense. Entrepreneurs are